Okay. So you know how there are certain debates in sports that just never seem to die down?
Oh, yeah.
It's
That's
like
true.
this constant back and forth that just gets everyone fired up.
Right.
And in basketball, one of those never-ending discussions is, well,
The GOAT conversation?
exactly,
Yeah.
the GOAT debate.
Yeah. Who is the greatest of all time?
It's like Michael Jordan's name is always there.
Yeah.
He's got that like aura of
Lost the
invincibility,
championship.
but then you've got LeBron James,
Oh, man. LeBron just keeps defying time.
and his stats are just mind-blowing.
Unreal.
And now everyone's buzzing about Victor Wembanyama.
It's like every generation needs their own contender for the throne.
It's true. And for this deep dive, we're looking at this guide.
Okay.
That's all about creating a viral YouTube podcast about, you guessed it,
Oh, wow. So Meta
the GOAT debate.
using the GOAT debate to spark a debate about the GOAT debate.
Exactly.
That's clever.
So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the main arguments and comparisons that this guide uses to make these cases for Jordan, LeBron, and Wembanyama.
Right.
So you can really understand why each of these guys is even part of the conversation.
I like it. It's like a framework for understanding the whole debate.
Exactly. A shortcut to get past all the noise.
Yeah.
So let's start with the name that for a lot of people
Sure.
still represents the ultimate peak.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, it's interesting because the guide positions him as the standard.
Right.
And when you look at what he accomplished, it's hard to argue.
6 NBA championships.
Won all 6 in the finals.
Undefeated in the finals.
Which is huge.
Like, that's legendary.
Right. Like, you almost can't even fathom that level of dominance.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, 5 MVP awards.
5 MVPs.
10 scoring titles.
10 scoring titles.
It's just like an incredible level of achievement.
Especially that undefeated finals record.
Yeah, that really carries a lot of weight in these discussions.
It really does. It shows he could perform when it mattered most.
When the pressure was at its highest.
Right. And the guide we're looking at emphasizes how Jordan didn't just dominate the game.
Yeah.
He changed it.
He changed it forever.
Like, his influence is still everywhere.
You can see it in the way players approach the game.
That competitive fire.
Yeah, that intensity, it became the new standard.
It's true. He definitely raised the bar. But, there's always that question that comes up.
Oh, yeah, the era question.
The era question.
Right.
And this guide doesn't shy away from it.
Well, it's important to acknowledge it.
It asks, was he playing in a weaker era?
It's tough because the game evolves.
Right. The strategies, the talent, the rules.
Everything changes over time.
So comparing players across generations is never simple.
Never a perfect apples-to-apples comparison.
Exactly. It's messy, but it's part of the fun too, right?
It is. It's what keeps a debate going.
Which brings us to the next giant in this conversation.
Okay.
LeBron James. The guide calls him the all-around phenom.
And that feels fitting.
It really does. His career has been this marathon of just constant excellence.
It's amazing how long he's been at the top of his game.
And the guide we're looking at highlights some key things about LeBron.
Yeah.
4 NBA championships.
And not all with the same team.
Right, spread across 3 different franchises.
Shows his adaptability.
4 MVP awards.
And of course, he's the NBA's all-time leading scorer now.
That's a record that seemed untouchable.
For sure. But LeBron just kept racking up the points.
The guide talks about his ability to carry teams.
Right.
And we've seen that time and time again.
Yeah. He elevates everyone around him.
He's not just a scorer. He's a facilitator, a rebounder.
A complete player.
A floor general.
And his impact goes way beyond the basketball court, too.
Oh, absolutely. The guide even points that out.
Right.
Saying LeBron is more than a player. He's a global icon, an activist.
Using his platform to make a difference.
And that's got to factor into his legacy.
Yeah, it's a new dimension to the GOAT discussion.
And what's so impressive is his adaptability.
Right.
This is something the guide really emphasizes.
From Miami to Cleveland to L.A.
He's dominated in different eras.
He's found ways to win.
Adapted his game.
Stayed relevant.
To stay at the top for 2 decades.
It's pretty incredible.
It really is. But of course, there's always a counterpoint.
Oh, yeah, there always is.
Just like with Jordan.
And the guide brings it up.
It asks, does his finals record hurt his GOAT case?
Which is interesting because he hasn't been perfect in the finals.
Right. He's not like Jordan.
And for some people, that's a deal breaker.
So it raises the question, what really matters most when we're talking about greatness?
Yeah, what are we prioritizing?
Is it an undefeated finals record?
Or is it the total body of work?
The longevity, the consistency.
The impact on and off the court.
It's a complicated question.
It's at the heart of this whole debate.
All right, so now let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about someone who's just getting started,
Right.
but already generating so much hype.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama.
He's a fascinating prospect.
The guide calls him the future of basketball.
And you can see why.
I mean, the potential is just through the roof.
Yeah. What's exciting about Wembanyama is just how unique his skill set is.
The guide describes him as 7'4" with guard skills. A unicorn unlike anything we've ever seen.
It's true. That combination of size, agility, and shooting is something else.
It really is. And the guide makes us think about the future.
Right.
Asking, could he surpass LeBron and MJ in rings, MVPs, or impact?
It's hard to even imagine right now.
It's wild to think about, but we're already seeing these flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
Hints of how dominant he could become.
Makes you wonder what his ceiling really is.
And the guide points out that he's already changing how people think about basketball.
I think that's right.
Teams are changing their defenses, their scouting strategies.
Just because of him.
That's a level of impact we rarely see this early in a career.
It's pretty remarkable.
But of course, the guide also throws in a word of caution,
Right.
asking, is it too early to include him in the Jad conversation?
It's a fair point.
He's just starting his NBA journey.
The talent is obvious, but we need to see how his career plays out.
Can he stay healthy?
Can he maintain this level of play?
Can he lead a team to consistent success?
These are all questions that only time will answer.
Exactly. Longevity and consistent excellence are essential parts of any Joat argument.
Absolutely.
So we've looked at each player individually.
Yeah, we've laid the groundwork.
But the real fun starts when we try to compare them directly.
Right, especially across different eras.
And our guide gets into how tricky that can be.
Well, you're dealing with so many hypotheticals.
Right.
The guide suggests looking at stats, accolades, overall impact.
Which all makes sense.
But it's so hard to make direct comparisons.
Because they played in different systems.
Different roles.
Against different competition.
It's like comparing apples and oranges.
It really is.
Yeah.
So we end up with these endless what-if scenarios.
Right. What if LeBron played in the 90s with those physical defenses?
Or could Jordan dominate in today's three-point heavy game?
And then there's the big one.
The guide even asks, is Wembanyama the most talented of all time?
Whoa.
I mean, it's a question that sparks debate.
Yeah, it makes you think.
There are no easy answers.
Which I think is part of what makes it so interesting.
It forces us to examine what qualities we really value in a basketball legend.
Right. Is it scoring ability?
Is it versatility, clutch performances,
Championship pedigree?
leadership?
It's all part of the equation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Go-At conversation,
All right.
let's recap what we've learned from our guide.
Okay.
We explored Michael Jordan's case as the dominant force who won and redefined the game.
Right. His competitive spirit is legendary.
We looked at LeBron James, the all-around player with incredible stats and a huge impact on and off the court.
His longevity is remarkable.
And we considered Victor Wembanyama, the electrifying talent who was already changing the game.
His potential is just so exciting.
And as our guide highlights, the title of greatest of all time is subjective.
Yeah.
It often comes down to personal preferences.
And what each fan values most.
There's no one right answer.
And the fact that this debate continues
Is a testament to the impact these players have had.
Absolutely. They've all left their mark on the game.
So here's a final thought for you.
Okay.
Think about what you believe is the single most important factor in determining the GAT.
That's a good question.
Is it the number of championships, individual stats,
Impact on the game.
leadership, something else entirely?
Wow. So many things to consider.
Then consider how each of these players measures up against that specific criterion.
Right.
It might help you solidify your own choice.
Yeah.
Or maybe it'll just make you appreciate the multifaceted greatness of these three players.
Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Victor Wembanyama.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It was fun.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.